Well, hello everybody and welcome back. Today we are going to quickly talk a little bit about something I had discussed a couple of years ago that's come back to the forefront, and that is the conversation about digital IDs. Now, Michelle Rempel just a couple of days ago put out a video talking about what the Liberal government is moving forward with on digital IDs, and she raised some concerns. Well, I had done a video probably 2 years ago now, and I just want to talk to you about some of the, things that I had brought up and of course was deemed very much a conspiracy theorist. So welcome back to a topic that, has been a hot topic for a number of individuals, especially people who love their privacy and respect freedom. And it is digital IDs and government control. So having been called a conspiracy theorist, I guess it's nothing new for me. I guess I participate in a number of conspiracies. I think I'm now a prophet at this point because so many of these conspiracies apparently have come true. But, digital IDs truly are, in my opinion, a tool that the government will use to monitor and restrict our daily lives. And here we are in 2024, breaking news from Ottawa as MP Michelle Rempel Garner reveals that the Canadian government is indeed considering implementing a digital ID program. This isn't a story you'll find in the mainstream media, unfortunately, because they just don't cover what's actually important to Albertans and to Canadians. They are only interested really in whatever Justin Trudeau's narrative and plans are for this country. So in this video, I want to break down a couple of these updates, how they basically connect to the predictions that I made a couple of years back, and what this could mean for our privacy, our freedom, and for the future of you and our children. So stay tuned. The more you know, obviously, the better prepared you will actually be. And so some of the talking points here is that the conspiracy label. I really want to focus in on this because 2 years ago I spoke about a number of different things, and we were kind of just coming out of COVID at that point. I know it's been that long, and so many of these things were dismissed as a far out concept, and to see more and more of them realized as reality should be, I think, a wake-up call for a lot of people. So first up, let's talk about centralized control. Garner's report mentioned that the government's ability to issue and revoke these digital ID credentials at will, right? In simpler terms, this simply means that they could control access to your basic services like employment, financial bank accounts. Well, that would never happen in Canada, right? No one would ever freeze your bank account or threaten your ability to pay your bills, put food on the table for your family. No, Chrystia Freeland would never do that. Just imagine your access now, and imagine how easy that was for them to do, during COVID and the Freedom Convoy, just because you made a donation, nothing having illegal, but just made a donation to an organization and they were able to basically shut down your bank account. Imagine how easy this would have been for them to do if there was digital IDs. So access to critical services could have been switched off just like that. There was no need for an emergency act if they gain access to what they're planning on doing by pushing through this agenda. So remember my video 2 years ago, we discussed how digital IDs could potentially lead to this scenario. And at the time, it seemed very outlandish, but yet here we are. And now we have a member of parliament, Michelle Rempel Garner, who's actually bringing this to the people's attention. I'm guessing she's joined the conspiracy theory club. So, and they're doing this very quietly, and they're pushing this forward with government contracts. And the hard part with that is, how they're doing this obviously through sole source contracts. They're not obviously announcing this and making it very publicly well aware or well known. And, secrecy. This is the problem I have with secrecy in government, is that secrecy, that's where all the bad stuff happens, right? I mean, if you are in government and government in general, everything should be 100% absolutely transparent. So digital credentials, government control or access services, this will provide each and every person to have a digital ID, whether you want to or not. If this passes through, they're going to force you just to get access to essential services. Some people have, compared this to the mark of the beast, for example. Without the mark, you can't transact. You can't, do the things that you need to do to function and live in society. And again, I've warned about this in the past, and I don't think that any individual should put unlimited faith and unlimited trust in their government. I think we need to be very proactive in calling out government overreach and being very proactive in letting our friends and family know also, what this could mean for you. So very alarming point is how the government has decided to move forward with the digital IDs, and they're doing so without parliamentary oversight. According to Rempel Garner, they're rolling this out through government contracts rather than open debate on in the House, and they're keeping it out of the public eye. And that is a grave concern and should be a very grave concern for you, because they're basically bypassing the democratic process. They're bypassing the electorate. Your members of parliament are your voices. They are the representatives of you. And without a debate on the floor, there should be no approvals. And this is just happening quietly behind closed doors. Now, again, she's called out much of this. I'm just basically talking to the point, the fact that I did bring up this as a warning a couple of years ago. And in my previous video, I did warn again that it could happen. Governments introduce sweeping changes without the public's knowledge or the public's consent. And we've never seen that overreach before. But this just goes to show how easily it can happen. And they just take advantage of the fact that we're just not paying attention and or don't know. So lack of transparency in this kind of policy rollout is a problem. We need to ensure that contracts that are being solicited are being done publicly. They are being done fairly, obviously, and everybody is made aware of what the intent actually is. So, they're spending your tax dollars, and if they're spending your tax dollars, you should be fully 100% aware of where that money is going and for what purpose. They're using our tax dollars basically to gain further control over us, which is, very disturbing, because they're using our money to take away our freedoms and our rights. I foresaw, government overstepping, and this Trudeau government in particular has been just absolutely so tyrannical and so authoritarian and totalitarian. It is beyond belief that anybody can support Justin Trudeau at this point. So the bigger picture, when I first raised concerns about the digital ID, I mentioned global players like the World Economic Forum. Again, another conspiracy theory, which apparently is just very real and very true. But they've long pushed for centralized IDs and digital currencies, CBDCs. We'll talk about that at a different time. And while Garner doesn't mention specifically the World Economic Forum, which she's had connections with herself in the past, she does bring up how the government and private sectors are working together and integrating through these digital ID plans. Now, Canada has been very open and honest, the Bank of Canada, with their moving forward with digital bank currencies. And looks like they've backed away somewhat from that here recently, but they had on their website, it was very easy and plain for everybody to see. And if you combine, a digital currency where there's no cash, there's no writing checks, they have 100% control of your life. So if there's an opinion or something you express that you don't like, and they don't like you or your opinion, well, you know what? Well, we'll just shut that down. This is the concern that I have with a lot of this. So I warned about, this larger global trend. I warned about the external forces that were obviously influencing the Canadian government, another conspiracy theory, which now it turns out that we've had lots of, foreign interference in our Canadian government. And yet, I'll have to read my letter disqualifying me from the UCP to you one day, because so many of these things that I'm talking about here were the reasons that I was apparently not fit to be an MLA for this lovely province of Alberta, which I love so dearly. And here we are talking about them today as a matter of fact. So aiming, for the control that transcends national boundaries. We're seeing the United Nations just overstep we're seeing them try to control our food, trying to, the government most recently, Jabot just came out again, and they're firing back at Alberta here, trying to interfere in provincial jurisdiction once again on the fact that, they want a production cap on our oil and gas. Well, you don't get to decide those things, and I guess we're going back to the courts over that, but it should never have to be. We're just wasting money and wasting time and energy on a pointless thing where, if the federal government would just stay in its lane, I think everybody would be far better off. So, are we looking at a push from both the government and the private sector to create a system that could be adopted globally? It's a good question to ask. And linking digital IDs to global agendas. I mean, the World Economic Forum has been advocating for this. Harari, one of their advisors, has been advocating for this for a long time. And it would just be a next easy step once we get national IDs for this to turn into. And of course, if you listen to the language now, even with nations, you're a global citizen. You're no longer a citizen of Canada or a citizen of the United States or citizen of Paraguay, or like everybody's a global citizen. So, reflecting earlier on some of the points that I made around these bodies that were pushing for these types of changes, I think we need to grasp a better understanding of what's actually going on and get people engaged. And I have a question, do you think this is a part of a global agenda, or is it just a local issue? Please do share your thoughts with me. So privacy and individual rights are in serious risk with digital IDs. Here in Alberta, we're fighting right now to have stronger rights reflected in our legal system, and people are fighting for a stronger Alberta Bill of Rights and amendments to be made. Fortunately, this government put a few wrinkles in what should have been a really good news story by implanting a Trojan horse in Section 1 into the Alberta Bill of Rights, giving the government the ability to, within reasonable limits on those rights, which, your rights are given to you. They're inalienable. They're God gifted. The government's job is to protect them, not to put limits upon them. Just going to put that out there. Reminder, Danielle, that the government's job is to protect the rights of the individuals, especially Albertans. That's your job. It's not to infringe upon them. And it's not just on the Alberta Bill of Rights about the right of the government to do or not do something. You cannot punish somebody. People want the right to not be forced to take a vaccine or medical procedure, for example, which is great. Justin Trudeau can argue that he didn't force anybody to take a vaccine either, but he sure as hell punished an awful lot of people for taking a contrarian view to him. And that's what we need to ensure in an Alberta Bill of Rights, that people are not unjustly punished for making decisions that are contrary to what the government may deem as necessary or within reasonable limits. So back to what our MP here, Michelle Rempel Garner, highlighted, and how this ID could allow government tracking on the revocation of essential services, but without clarifying if enrollment, of course, will be optional or mandatory. On a cautionary note with that, even if you're given the choice, why would you want to do this? Here's how the government works. So the government used to have a social insurance number program that was at one time optional as well. It was voluntary. If you look at your income tax, it says voluntary on it. The government never does anything that it doesn't have a plan to actually utilize for its own benefit. So if you value your privacy and your personal data, whether it be your medical history, that of your children, your financial transactions, you need to become aware of this. And I would argue, if they make this optional, please do not partake in this type of program. Alexander Solzhenitsyn made it very clear, communism comes into countries because people partake in lies. And you know what? This is a lie. They're lying to us as to what they deem is their reasons for doing this. They'll make it sound very sweet and appealing. They may even provide you with some short-term benefits, but don't be fooled. Okay, don't be fooled. 2 years ago, I saw digital IDs, and I commented then that this could be very well the end of your personal privacy, whether it's your medical, your financial, just even your own personal data. You need to take control of that and need to make sure that the government does not garner full access and bring in, this is what's called the social credit system in China and so many other authoritarian regimes around the world. So just to conclude here, to wrap up, making one thing clear, these just are not conspiracy theories. 2 years ago, we discussed this, digital IDs, government control. Now we're seeing, members of parliament openly discuss these. These concepts are being rolled out quietly, no doubt, but surely in our own country. And the concerns I raised back then are very real, and they are very relevant, if not more relevant today. So we all need to stay informed. We all need to get engaged. Again, the government finds it very, very difficult to accomplish their agenda when we're onto it. But that means we need to remain aware. We need to remain diligent and vigilant in protecting our rights and our freedoms and staying informed. So leave your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. Please like this video. Knowledge is certainly power when it's put into action. I always tell people knowledge is just knowledge. It remains between your two ears unless you do something with it. So power is knowledge applied. And so share this with friends, become aware, don't allow these types of things to happen. And it's very hard for the government, like I said, to do that when you are awake, aware, and public pressure. We just saw here in Alberta, public pressure works. You can make change happen if you can hold politicians to account. And how do you hold them to account? You call them out for their mishaps, their poor judgment. You call them out for the things that you don't want, and you put forward the things that you do. So let's ensure that our rights and freedoms are protected, and please do stay tuned for more updates.